This week on TGC News, Kel Tec keeps us on our toes, MDT has an electronic trigger, Bond Arms bastardizes the AR with a new lever gun, and the GunTuber of the week returns. Welcome back to another episode of the Gun Collective News, the only gun news show that covers things that you, that's you, the person viewing this, actually care about. My name is John Patton. We are back from the brief hiatus caused by a YouTube strike, and we've got some new stuff to cover, so let's get to it. That's what we do here. Subscribe for more. First up this week is the industry's favorite lunatics, Kel Tec. These guys have been pushing boundaries for years, and these two new ones are no different. First is the R50, which is a rifle adaptation of their P50 pistol. The R50 is sporting a 16-inch barrel chambered in 5.7 by 28, and a 50-round magazine stolen from the FNP90. It also is sporting a stock that looks a bit like an afterthought. However, it has a neat party trick. The stock folds around and tucks into the gun, so you can shoot it folded up. It also tips the scales at just under 3.5 pounds, which is super lightweight. The MSRP on this lands at $815, which makes it the most affordable rifle in 5.7 to date. Kel Tec also brought out a new shotgun in the KSG family. Now, we've seen a bunch of iterations of this gun so far. The original KSG, of course, later the KSG25, which hilariously holds 25 rounds of 12 gauge. Then we saw the KS7, which was a single magazine tube version, and now we have the KSG410. It's got the giant carry handle on top, like the KS7, but it's also carrying 10 rounds in the dual tube magazines of the full-size 3-inch 410 shotgun shells. With the 2.5-inch smaller shells, you get 14 rounds in the gun, like the original KSG. So 18.5-inch barrel, bullpup, dual tube 410 shotgun that weighs 5.4 pounds and has super low recoil. I am in for that. MSRP is $495. Dude, come on. Just sign me up already. Somebody at Kel Tec, sign me up. I'm in. You can also sign me up for a new Vertx bag. They've been redesigning a bunch of their gear and recently came out with a few new bags for carrying firearms specifically. I've been using the dual handgun bag when we're taking guns out to the range for reviews, and I love it. The rifle bag is good too. They've got a scabbard for your vehicle if you're into that. You can check out all those and more and everything else they do on their website and use our code TGC to get yourself a sweet discount. I am avoiding saying their website out loud because I think YouTube is holding it against us, so be smart and figure out where Vertx has their website. Next up this week, a new bolt-action precision-style gun from AERO Precision. It's kind of in the name. Now, we saw an early version of this gun last year at GunCon, and it's finally starting to ship, so let's break it down. The core concept behind this SOLUS system is that you are meant to be able to tailor it to you. So they are not just selling complete rifles, but also barrels, actions, chassis, and barreled actions. For now, we will focus on the complete rifles. As of this recording, you have one option, and it seems like a solid choice. It is a competition-style 6.5 Creedmoor chambered 22-inch Sendero contour barrel mated up to the SOLUS action and chassis. On the surface, I like the look of their adjustable stock, AR-15 style grip, and push-forward style mag release, and I'm also starting to really genuinely appreciate the wonders of the Arca rail the more I mess with it. At an MSRP of $2,000 for this thing, it's packing some heat. For comparison, the DD Delta 5 that's most comparable is $2,500, and the SIG Cross PRS, again, pretty comparable, is around the same. If it holds up to the sub-MOA guarantee, it's got really good value. By the way, if you work in the gun industry and you want to be a part of GunCon this year, shoot me a message, let's make that happen. Next up this week, Colt has a new wheel gun. It's called the King Cobra Target 22, and as the scholars among you may have realized, it's a big, heavy revolver chambered in 22 long rifle. It has a fiber optic front sight, target-style rear, and a sort of vent rib on top of the 4.25-inch barrel. There's also a nice rubber Hogue grip, which I prefer on every revolver. Now, despite this gun being announced 8 months ago, it still doesn't exist on Colt's website. It's not there. Shout out to the stellar marketing team at Colt for that garbage. And I'm actually just now learning about the gun. That said, I am not sure how long it'll be till you can actually find one, considering they can't even tell people it exists beyond a single video. MSRP on that gun is $1,000. With Ruger and Smith offering models around the same price with similar features, I'm not sure I'd pick a Colt over those, and I want to know what you guys would grab. Sound off in the comments with your opinion. Moving on, we're actually doing good on stuff that might not be hot garbage this week. This is a good week. Say hello to the Bond Arms lever action. Now, this is essentially an AR-15 upper receiver mated to a unique lower that has a shotgun-style mag pull stock, and you guessed it, a lever action. Now, I suspect this requires some sort of specific bolt carrier because there is no buffer tube where the BCG can move into as it travels back, but beyond that, the upper looks fairly standard. This opens up the doors to two potential pathways. Path 1 is another option for band states to have something cool, and Path 2 is for those of us that want something that takes a cartridge like 458 SOCOM and turns it into a suppressed hog hunting monster of a gun. Now, on their website, they have 5 calibers listed: 9mm, 5.56, 300 Blackout, 450 Bushmaster, and 12.7 by 42, aka 50 Beowulf, although they show 450 and 50 as not confirmed. The MSRP is $14.99, which doesn't really offend me for something that is as interesting as this gun. And then I wonder, will this be a legit contender and not an unreliable piece of trash? We don't know yet. Bond Arms currently makes their money on Derringer-style handguns, and their only semi-auto is a design they acquired from Boberg Arms years ago. This is a total departure from that, and I guess we will find out if they deliver. And now it's time to bring back a segment you guys used to really, really love. It's called GunTuber of the Week, but since I kind of ran out of folks to cover, I stopped doing it. Now, I've got a channel that you guys are really going to want to see. It's a new channel from my good friend Sean Heron that runs one of the best gun podcasts out there. Except this one is not a podcast channel. It's all about gun reviews. The videos are fast-paced, funny, really, really well presented, and just really good videos. Say hello to Dangerous Freedom.
If I end up liking the gun, am I a shill? Then I realized I don't try to please the trolls. I don't try to please the companies. I try to please past me when I was brand new trying to figure out what everyday people thought of guns. I went to their website and set out to build my dream gun. Who's your favorite 2011 maker? Start a fight in the comments. The Staccato XL, which has a 5.4 inch barrel. If it's long, I want it to be black, so I got the DLC coating. It's a nice blacked out look and has a super long sight radius. I've been shooting Smith & Wesson pistols since I got into guns. I always just shot them better, so I stuck with them. I took it straight out of the box, no lube. And it did not have one hiccup in over 500 rounds of all different kinds of ammunition made from metal.
I highly recommend that you guys go subscribe and start by watching the M&P metal review titled Harder Than Chicken Lips. There is a link in the description, of course. What a good title. You know what? Let's spin up the minigun. It's rapid fire time. Eotech has introduced a tiny slide riding optic called the EFLX or FLX. Coming from one of the giants in the optic game, this might not suck. MSRP is a totally reasonable, affordable $389, and they just announced that you can get it in flat dark dookie. MDT released the first ever electronic bolt gun trigger called the Zero Stage. The trigger is adjustable from 4 pounds all the way down to 4 ounces. It uses an electronic solenoid to control everything inside, as well as a bunch of sensors, and it keeps things ultra consistent. It has a USB-C rechargeable battery, and they estimate about 1,000 shots per charge. They also have plans to be able to update the firmware down the road and tweak things. The MSRP is unknown, but I suspect it will be substantial when it's announced. And you know what the world needs a lot more of right now? 12-gauge shotgun suppressors. Turns out 2 companies are working on that issue. First is JK Armament with the 195 Versa X and SGX. They are made from 7075 aluminum to keep the weight down, thank goodness for that. The Versa X has 4 baffles, while the SGX has 7. Weights are 9.3 ounces and 16 ounces. MSRP is $8.99 for the long boy and $5.99 for the shorty. Also in gauge cans, Rex Silentium has one called the SEG410. This one has 8 stackable baffles and weighs in at 29 ounces because it is made from stainless steel as opposed to aluminum. Pricing on this one is $1,100. I'll tell you this much. As the owner of a Salvo 12, heavy shotgun cans are not ideal. Are you guys ready for something that is a deal? Huh? Okay, I've got a solid deal for you guys this week. On Amazon right now is the best price I've ever seen in a very long time on the Wheeler 89-piece screwdriver set. I legit use this thing. It's like right there. It's right there. I use it almost daily, and if you need a very specific size bit, they've kind of got you covered for most gun and home-related stuff. Now, they're typically 60 to 70 bucks, but right now, they are down to 55, and using Amazon Prime, you get free shipping. There's also a good deal on the hex wrench set as well, so check that out, links below. All right, now let's get into some industry news. I'll keep this quick. Daniel Defense has named Rod Reason as the new CEO to replace Marty Daniel himself. Now, Daniel is set to remain as chairman of the board, so he's not completely ejecting, but he says this will allow him to focus more on his family and his wife Cindy Daniel's 501c3 organization called the Double D Foundation. I am interested to see how Mr. Reason handles the business going forward, and I hope that he doesn't turn it into a shell of its former self. I guess we shall see. Also in gun industry news, Winchester announced that they won yet another contract for the next-gen squad weapon ammo production. Duh. They run Lake City. Of course they're going to get that. The value of the contract is unknown, but I'm sure it lies somewhere between a load and a crap ton of money. And we have a new cartridge to discuss. The Sporting Arms and Ammunition Manufacturing Institute, or SAAMI for short, has listed a new straight wall cartridge called the 400 Legend. This is sort of the big brother to the 350 Legend. It is a straight wall cartridge and is said to sling a 215 grain bullet downrange at 2,230 feet per second. Although Winchester has said nothing about the round just yet, they are clearly working on another option for straight wall states, and I like big bore. That sounds rad. I want to know your favorite thing from this week down in the comments. Thanks as always for watching. I appreciate you, and of course, get subscribed.